Welcome everyone to the Avengenerds podcast, where we talk Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and more. I'm your host Torrin, and with me is my co-host Peyton.
What's going on, man? Oh my god, dude!
So much stuff for you guys for this podcast.
So much stuff because we have like the biggest show for you today. Of course, you saw the title. You know what week it is. It is the culmination of Spider-Man month. It is finally time to review Spider-Man No Way Home. Oh man.
Oh god.
Can't believe I'm saying that. I can't believe we've even seen the movie. Like this is like it's so surreal. But yeah, we got a great show. We have so much stuff to get through. This is gonna be a long one. Hopefully we don't have to split into two parts. if it says part 1 in the title, then you know what happened. But that's like worst case scenario. Anyway, I do want to say, just to hold myself to it before we get started, I'm gonna do time codes. All right, I'm gonna do time codes so you can skip around if you want to skip just to the review, you want to skip to spoilers, or make sure you stay non-spoiler, whatever. I'm gonna be putting time codes, so look in the description or the show notes, whatever the case may be. I'm gonna put those there. All right, but before we get into the review, we have the news of the week. We're gonna try to speed through this stuff, but we still got a lot to talk about, including Hawkeye episode 5, which is a big one. So. Let's get started with some DC news. This piece of news I'm going to start off. It's a little bit annoying, to be honest, but a Gotham Knights series is in the works at the CW from the people. What?
Oh my god, dude! Really?
Yeah. Okay. Well, hold on. Hold your horses. Okay, so a Gotham Knights series is in the works at the CW from the people behind Batwoman. The series is set in the wake of Bruce Wayne's murder, where his adopted son forges an unlikely alliance with the children of Batman's enemies when they are all framed for the murder.
And then who's behind this? You said
well, we don't know. I think that's the mystery of the series. It says
no. I'm saying.
Oh, who's behind the show? The people behind Batwoman.
Yeah, I'm ruined.
Yeah. Yeah, I read this. It said a Gotham Knights series in the works. And I was like, oh, and then it said CW Batwoman people. I was like, oh no, why?
Why can't they just give a few more 100,000 to the Superman and Lois writers, bro?
That's what I'm saying, bro. When I read it, I was like, oh my god, is this behind the Superman and Lois people? But no, and it's also Bruce Wayne is murdered, so he's dead in the CW now, I guess.
Oh my god.
Like all the villains, I guess, are gonna be the children of Batman's villains. So we're just gonna be getting Walmart versions of them all. So that's
annoying. We're gonna be getting the fucking like rogues gallery from the Flash.
Joker Jr.
Joker Jr. We're gonna get fucking Skinny Penguin.
Scareboy.
Scareboy. Fucking. Yeah. We're gonna be getting the freaking the toddler instead of the Riddler.
Jeez. But yeah, so that's that. A couple more pieces of DC news. First, Blue Beetle. This is great news. Blue Beetle will no longer be an HBO Max exclusive.
It's a movie.
And will now release in theaters on August 18th, 2023. Yes, we win. Yes. Now do it. Now do Batgirl, please.
Oh, yes, dude.
But yeah, these movies, Blue Beetle and Batgirl, I mean, they deserve their time in the sun in the theater. Luckily, Blue Beetle is getting that time in the sun. Hopefully, Batgirl gets the same treatment, but Batgirl seems further along and they haven't done this yet, so that kind of worries me, but it is what it is. Along with that, according to the Illuminati, Wonder Woman will apparently appear in Shazam 2. So that's nice. Cool. I don't know where. Maybe they go to Themyscira or something. I don't know. But
yeah. She's gonna have the Dreamstone again, you know.
Broadcast herself across the world. Be like, renounce your wish.
All right.
Jeez, but moving on to some Marvel news. Michael, I still don't know how to pronounce his name, Giacchino, is going to score Thor Love and Thunder. This man does not sleep.
I know. This man is literally, like I told Peyton outside the podcast, he is the Blake Neely of comic book movies.
He really is. We just got done with No Way Home. He did the Batman, and now he's doing Thor. I like.
Hey, bro, man. Hey, bro. Get that bag, bro. You deserve it.
He's a
Wholeheartedly.
really good composer. So good.
One of the best. Really.
Definitely. Another piece of news is it's rumored Daredevil will appear in She-Hulk with his yellow costume from the comics.
Oh man, oh, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, that would be really
I
interesting.
don't care.
To see.
I'm kidding.
Oh,
no, it's actually pretty cool because I've always wondered what they're gonna, how they're gonna pull that off.
yeah, the yellow suit. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know what that's gonna look like.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're because of course in the Netflix one they didn't. They did the red suit, but it had black accents in it. So
Yeah.
I want to know if they're gonna do like a variation.
Well, I was thinking
like
they were gonna do yellow with red accents.
Yeah, that looks good.
Or maybe red with yellow accents. I don't know. But this...
Yeah, of course, it's mostly mostly yellow in the comics.
Part of me is really worried because the yellow suit, it's always red or that black suit from the Netflix series. But Marvel has a knack for using really ridiculous and stupid costumes from the comics and somehow making it work. So I'm not all that worried, but... Still, aside from that, the I Am Groot Disney Plus series is now confirmed for a 2022 release, so that's fun. We just got done with No Way Home, but Kevin Feige has said that Marvel Studios is actively developing a story for a possible Spider-Man 4. Hip hip hooray.
What?
Yeah.
Dude.
Despite Tom Holland going on every interview being like, I don't know if I'm going to be Spider-Man anymore. Yeah, you are. man's just trying to get that bag.
But they all deserve a bag.
They definitely all deserve that bag, especially after No Way Home. Whew, well, I mean, we'll get to it. Goddamn. But yeah, last piece of news is actually technically it's not the last piece of news. Hawkeye episode 6 is rumored to be an hour long.
Yes,
which is great. There's so many loose ends to tie up in that series.
I know,
it's got to be
really
long. But I feel like they're going to leave some stuff open for the Echo series. But yeah, we'll see about that. But yes, okay. So now, last piece of news is of course Hawkeye episode 5. What'd you think? This one for me was such a blast for several reasons. But what'd you think?
It was a blast. I enjoyed it a lot. I love the talk between Kate Bishop and Yelena. It was like a really good like dynamic between them, and trying to clear up the miscommunication or the misunderstanding of what Clint did, or what was believed by Yelena that Clint killed Nat in Endgame. And then I love that a lot, and I love the, of course, the ending. I'm gonna let you get into that. But I also love the fact that we got to see more Ronin in action. That was fucking awesome. And more fighting from Maya, which is a standout in this series so far.
Definitely. I think, well, I was going to say my favorite bit, but one of my favorite bits was the opening, which I was not expecting. It felt like I just jumped right back into the Black Widow movie.
Oh, yeah, but, for sure. That was really nice.
Yelena's going and she's trying to cure all these Black Widows and stuff like that. And she comes across this, I guess maybe she was an ex-widow or something like that. She wasn't brainwashed, which a lot of people were like confused by. They're like, wait, does the brainwashing like wear off or something? I don't think that's the case. I think that maybe she was just a Black Widow before the biological brainwashing. But regardless, they sort of settle down, and then Yelena goes to the bathroom, and we get this incredible perspective from Yelena of the snap, and she gets dusted and comes back in an instant, which was so cool to see. We've gotten the look at it from Far From Home in WandaVision, and in each one of those we see sort of like this different perspective, and in this one, just seeing how it's really instant for them. They just in a second lose 5 years of their lives is crazy. And it was also tragic, how Yelena was all like, I need to find Nat and tell her I'm okay. And obviously, the ones who know, yikes, super sad. But yeah, and then you're at that conversation between Kate and Yelena was just a delight to watch. Yelena she's had 2 appearances in 2 different Marvel projects, and she's already easily one of my new favorite characters. She's so fun. She's great. But yeah, that was a great scene. How Yelena was just being, sort of goofy and fun to sort of really just to bring Kate's guard down. And then when she got serious, it was like, God damn. I think my favorite part of that conversation was when when Kate was like, she was talking about how Clint's an Avenger. He wouldn't do that. And Yelena was like, what does an Avenger even mean? Why does that name hold so much weight? like that excuses all the bad shit that he's done. And I was like, God damn. Get her ass.
And that's the thing, like, that's like been like a recurring thing like throughout the the MCU. It's like, like, why call yourself an Avenger? Like, with that name, you've done so much damage to like a lot of things. I love that like that little argument and the the MCU. Also, I might want to add that even though people shit on like Florence Pugh's Russian accent, I like it a lot. It's like like a Russian country. Yeah, people don't like it because like it's not like a real Russian accent. But the reason why I like it is because it's like it's like if a Russian person was trying to be like from the country. That's what it sounds like to me, which I like a lot.
I thought it was really good. I didn't have any issue with
it.
Yeah,
I like it.
It wasn't like Elizabeth Olsen's Sokovian accent.
Oh yeah, that's
no offense to her, of course, great actress, but yeah, that accent. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I liked it a lot. I didn't have any issue with it. I thought it sounded good. But yeah, besides that, we see, of course, Jack gets arrested. I don't know what's up with that dude. I think it's pretty clear at this point that the mom is a bad guy. I mean, before the ending, of course, that kind of solidifies it. But before that, she was already acting real sus. Like the whole show was like, hey, look at this Jack guy. This guy is super sus. But yeah, the mom, as the series goes on, it's like, I don't trust a word you say. Man, the whole thing with Clint in the Ronin suit again, fighting Maya, that was sick. But just for the case of moving on, let's talk about that ending. I think we all saw it coming. Kate is on her phone, and Yelena's following Kate's mom into this building, and Kate gets a text from Yelena, and she's like, I found out who hired me. It's your mom. Turns out she a hoe, and she sends a picture of her with someone. Kate sends the phone over to Clint. She's like, who is this dude? And Clint's like, well, little lady, clearly you haven't seen Daredevil, because that's obviously Kingpin. And she's like, what? And then we get our reveal of Vincent D'Onofrio back as Kingpin. Man, crazy how we're getting peak fiction back little by little.
I know, right? And like some people were also like saying like, that's not Kingpin. I'm like, hey bro, if you look at the credits, it says his name.
It's true. It literally says Kingpin. not even just Vincent D'Onofrio. It says Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio. And
then like that I didn't notice it until I saw it on Instagram, but it made an outline of the Kingpin like closing out.
Yeah, like really a silhouette. Cool. Yeah, super cool. But yeah, that is Hawkeye episode 5, which means it's time. It is time. It's time for, oh my God, it's time for the moment of truth. It's time to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home. And of course, just like our Eternals review, just like our Shang-Chi review, just like our Venom 2 review, we're going to be doing non-spoilers than spoilers, talking about our general thoughts and stuff like that, give a little bit of a ranking, or a rating rather, and then we'll get into all the spoiler talk. So why don't you start us off with the non-spoiler bit?
The non-spoiler ones. Okay. So at the end of the movie, I'm kidding.
It was crazy when Loki came out.
I know, right? I still can't comprehend that this movie even exists. This movie is just a treat for not only MCU fans but just Spider-Man fans from the comics and just watching him in live action as a whole. This is a love letter to Peter Parker in the MCU, and this movie just like solidifies the trilogy as a whole. It is just one of the best like movies I have seen in a long time. Granted, I need to see more movies, but still, it is just which just was a sight to see, a treat to see, and something that everyone needs to go see. Like if they're an MCU fan or just a Spider-Man fan as a whole, and it's still pretty it's just a surreal feeling, just what everyone saw in the movie, and just everything from from the characters, the villains, the plot itself. It was just a lovely, lovely thing that just it made me so happy to see.
Yeah, this is a rare movie to get. Really, movies like this don't just happen, you know what I mean? And it has such staying power in your mind. Literally, I'm like at work and I'm doing my thing, and when I'm at work I usually listen to podcasts, and I am completely zoned out. I am completely gone, and I'm literally the entire time I'm just thinking of this movie. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna have to go listen to these podcasts again, because I was listening to nothing. I was just being like, man, No Way Home was something else.
I know.
But yeah, like you said, this movie to me just does not feel real. I'm seeing clips online and stuff, and I'm like, did this really happen? Did I dream this? So much of this feels like something it's too good to be true kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Really? Yeah.
And it's so weird. It's literally a feeling I've never had, even after Endgame, which is the biggest mind blowing everything I could have ever wanted and then some. And I still didn't feel like this. I don't know, it's a literal dream come true. And yeah, it's a love letter to Peter Parker and Spider-Man, but not just in the MCU, just in general. Really? This movie really gets to the core of who Peter Parker is. And if you've been listening to the podcast, you'll know that it was said that this movie would finally be delving into Parker luck and finally making this version of Spider-Man suffer, which is also a core part of the character. He's a tragic character. Peter Parker's story is tragic, and man, is that what this movie is. It is soul crushing. If you haven't seen the movie, bring tissues for the love of God.
I mean, of course, I didn't cry because I'm a man. I'm kidding.
Wow.
But man, dude, just a lot of tear-jerking moments for me. I'm actually I'm tearing up as I'm talking about it, because just even thinking about the movie is just so it's so mind-blowing to me. I should have seen it on Friday, but of course some things happen. But whenever I see this movie again, that's probably when I'm going to burst out into tears.
Same.
Yeah, it's just
same.
We're gonna talk about what brought us down, but still,
yeah, specifics.
Just the whole entire, just the experience is just one of a kind. I always talk about this with friends, oh my god, Infinity War, Endgame, those movies are granted, those are really good movies with just amazing experiences, but honestly, Spider-Man No Way Home is probably it has to top it all. It really does. And that's just something that I'm probably never going. Of course, I don't want to forget it. And of course, this definitely enters in the category of I wish I could erase my memory to see it for the first time again. it's just a feeling that it's such an overwhelming joy to see this movie.
It's so surreal.
It really is.
It's like, I don't know how else to describe it, man. It really doesn't feel. That's why, like you said, whenever we see this thing for a second time, yeah, I think that's when it's gonna sink in, and I'm gonna just completely break down.
Oh man, it's just. Oh my god, there's a helicopter flying by. They're looking for Spider-Man. So, but yeah, man, I really can't get over it. But like, let me go into like the characters. Like the characters are just top notch in this movie, especially even like the villains. Like the villains, like they didn't get too much of screen time, but they were still fleshed out to the point where it's like they had a purpose there.
Definitely.
Green Goblin, of course. Willem Dafoe he still remains like to be one of the best, if not the best, comic book villain in live action.
My God, he was on another level in this. Like
he was.
You think it'd be hard to top Spider-Man 1 as far as his performance goes, but boy, does he bring his A game.
Definitely.
Every actor for every villain slipped back into the roles like it was nothing.
Exactly. It's almost like, even after 17 years later, 20 years later, like they haven't left. It's almost like
might as well be 2002.
Yeah, exactly. 2002, 2004. Like it's just it's also like of course this is probably like a mild spoiler, but whatever. Like the thing about this movie was about getting a second chance, right? And I feel like that theme, along with just everybody that was involved, it's just an immaculate tying together.
This movie, like Infinity War and Endgame, is one of those movies that there's so much packed into this thing that it shouldn't work, but it does.
Exactly.
And I think that's what the MCU kind of does best. like taking things and like so many things and somehow packaging it in this 2.5 hour experience, and it works. That should not happen.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And of course people had before the movie came out, people had the thought of this movie not working out because it was going to be like a situation with the Amazing Spider-Man 2 with just too many villains, just a lot of things going on that's just going to confuse the fans. But like you said, it works in the best way possible. Just, my God. Like I'm like a freaking track on repeat whenever I'm going to keep saying this. But yeah, this movie is just an overwhelming joy of just what everybody needed in a Spider-Man movie. Really.
Absolutely. And is that to say the movie's perfect? No, there's a couple.
It's not perfect.
There's a couple things that I'm going to talk about in spoilers that I do take a little bit of issue with, but it's nothing to like ruin the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And some of it if in a worse movie it would be a big deal. Like, well, this is kind of fucking stupid, but because everything surrounding it is so goddamn good, I can forget about it. I could let it slide.
And there are some things that of course like you said, like it wouldn't bring down the experience for me. But even though there are some complaints and the movie isn't perfect, I still think it is a god tier Spider-Man movie. I definitely think it is like equally to Into the Spider-Verse. Like really,
this will easily take the number one spot as far as my favorite Spider-Man movie goes. Easily, I still have to see it again and sit with it more to really consider if it's the best Spider-Man movie. But it's up there. This will easily break top 3 at the very least. This is, I mean, I can say that with 100% certainty.
Oh, it's breaking top 2 for me, bro. It's breaking top 2 for sure.
Yeah. It certainly
you want to get
could.
to spoilers?
Yeah, well, before we get to spoilers, what would you rate it?
Good. I'm rating it at 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I was definitely gonna give it a 9.5 to 10 out of 10.
Like, yeah, like you said, I definitely need to see the movie again. There are some things that, of course, like I said, they're not like they don't ruin the experience. I wish they were in there, but of course, I'm just gonna let it slide. But yeah, it's definitely a 9.5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, same. All right, let's get into spoilers. I'm I wrote down pretty much everything in the movie, and we're gonna get to each and every scene. This podcast is gonna be 3 hours long. Anyway, so the movie starts out with the final moments of Far From Home, which already gives the movie this eerie, pessimistic vibe. Kind of like Infinity War in a way. You know how that movie started off with a little distress signal from the Asgardian ship or whatever. It was sort of like that. And of course, Jonah Jameson, and Mysterio out Peter Parker, and then that crowd of people just immediately are the worst.
There's just so much like anxiety and fear in just 1 minute of that scene.
Yeah, that lady tries to grab him. That guy tries to leap at him, which is crazy. And then, Peter and MJ obviously swing away. And there's quite a funny scene when Flash finds out that Peter's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But like this whole like first bit goes by at breakneck speed, which I feel like a lot of the time is a detriment in something like The Rise of Skywalker, for example. But again, in this movie, it works. It works. And it also works because this movie would be like 3.5 hours long if they didn't. But yeah, they want.
Am I complaining? No,
definitely not. They got to get to the plot, But Peter brings MJ to his and May's apartment, where this really funny one shot begins of Peter trying to like hide everything and like get dressed and and May, Happy and May thinking like Peter's having sex or whatever, and then May's like, "Oh, MJ, nice to meet you."
Yeah, no, right,
and stuff like that, and Peter's like desperately trying to put the blinds down and stuff, and man, it's just like really anxiety inducing, like because all this shit's going on and like stressful and stuff like that, and then obviously all the helicopters are surrounding their apartment. And the DOD come by and they take him in for questioning, and they all do well except Ned.
Yeah, Ned folded so bad, bro.
Ned, who blabs about literally everything. And that guy was actually pretty funny too. The guy who was interrogating him, like, because he was like, I was the Spider-Man's guy in the chair or whatever, and the guy was like, so you're Spider-Man's accomplice in all of his crimes or whatever. And he was like, like, you idiot. But yeah, there's a small time jump, and then we see Happy, May, and Peter in their apartment, and surprise, it's Matt Murdock.
Yes.
I saw that stick. He slams down that stick. I was like,
yeah, I know. I was like, oh my God.
And it was a very short but very sweet scene.
Very short cameo.
It was so cool to see
him. Charlie Cox. And then, they're talking, and, of course, Matt says, I can't be your lawyer. I'm a good one. And then a brick comes flying through, in which Murdoch catches it. Peter's like, how'd you do that? And he says, I'm a really good lawyer.
And the brick said we believe Mysterio or something. But yeah.
Oh man, that was just a fantastic scene.
Oh, just seeing him again. Oh man, that's also one of those things that doesn't feel real. Like he's on the big screen, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
which is surreal enough in itself, but he's also in an MCU movie. He's also interacting with freaking Spider-Man, like things that I never thought I'd see. And Charlie Cox, no less. Like, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Crazy stuff. But obviously, because of the whole brick situation, they realize they aren't safe, and so they decide to move into Happy's place, which is heavily secure. And Peter then goes to school and he's hilariously praised by Mr. Harrington. And yeah, that scene was hilarious, which was cool because I think as part of mostly Far From Home, I like them the least, the teachers like Mr. Harrington and like JB Smoove, but they got a really great scene in this, and I really liked it.
like you can swing to class or you can crawl in the lockers.
we all know you can do it. Just rubbing it in.
Like, I know, right? But freaking Hamilburst over here, I believe in Mysterio.
He was like, I believe Mysterio. They're like, no, you don't. No. Like, they literally built a freaking shrine, because they were like, Mr. Harrington was like, some of the students did this for you, and they were like, you did that. So it was really funny. But yeah, so then he has to, I guess get to class or whatever. He's like gawked by the entire school. Like he's obviously, everyone's staring at him and stuff. But Peter, MJ, and Ned meet up on the roof and discuss their possible future at MIT. And,
it doesn't happen. They can't get into MIT because of the controversy.
Yeah, because there's like a series of time skips, and Peter gets like multiple letters of rejection from backup schools, and then of course they all get their MIT ones, and they can't. MJ and Ned specifically can't go because of their connection to Peter, which is obviously tough. So Peter then gets the idea that he can go to Doctor Strange to see if he can turn back time and make sure Mysterio never revealed his identity. Now, this whole sequence, this Doctor Strange sequence from this to when he actually fucks up the spell is different from the trailers. And I think it's different for the better. The trailer, It was one of my least favorite things, and probably the thing that I was most worried about from the trailer was how they were handling this aspect of the story. And it's remedied quite a bit in the full thing, but not 100%. Peter is obviously he has to turn back time instead first, and then Doctor Strange is like, well, no, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that because timelines and whatever the hell. But he's also like, even if I wanted to, I don't have the time stone. And Peter was like, shit. And so obviously Strange gets the idea. Actually, before I get into that, Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme because Doctor Strange blipped.
Yeah, that's tough.
And so he went on a technicality, which is crazy.
Pretty funny.
I know,
but he's probably be the Sorcerer Supreme by the end of Multiverse of Madness, or maybe he won't be. I don't know. Anyway, so Strange gets the idea. Well, we can just make everyone forget. And there was the funny scene where Wong was like, that spell's dangerous. He was like, I've done it plenty of times. You remember that party we went to? He was like, no, exactly. Which I thought was good. So Strange has done this before, obviously not to this scale, but we know Strange, he's willing to do anything to see if he can do it, So Strange agrees, and another thing different from the trailer is, in the trailer, Wong was like, don't do that spell, it's too dangerous. And Strange was like, yeah, I won't do it. And he like winks or whatever. And this one, Wong's just like, fine, but leave me out of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And in the trailers, it seems like Peter's like, oh, my MJ should know, Ned should know. And that kind of fucks up the spell. Whereas in the full movie, that aspect is still there a bit, but Strange is actually trying to incorporate these aspects of Peter's wishes. He's like, okay, fine, MJ can remember. Okay, fine, Aunt May can remember this and that. And that missing part of the trailer does remedy some of that worry that I had a bit. But at the end of the day, Peter is still like talking a bunch, and he fucks up the spell, So yeah, the explanation that the spell went bad just because like all of a sudden in the trailer, and even though it was remedied in the movie, it's still a little messy. But I'm not gonna hold too much weight on it because the pandemic played a part in that. If you didn't know, No Way Home was supposed to release after Doctor Strange 2. And of course, the pandemic happened, and things shifted around, and they had to do some rewrites both on Doctor Strange and No Way Home. So now this is the explanation. Now, so am I going to hold too much weight on it? Not really. So it's definitely a chink in this movie's armor, but it's nowhere near enough to break it. You know what I mean?
I personally had like no problem. I mean, of course, I have no problem with how both the trailer and the final version of the movie went. Because personally, like they do that in the trailers. Trailers are often like have different shots compared to the movie. And I definitely just didn't really think about it that much because, like, it's just a plot that I was just thinking about overall.
Yeah, I get that, but is what it is. But after the spell, Strange gets mad at Peter because he didn't think to call MIT directly.
Yeah, he didn't call MIT.
And then Peter's like, "Oh shit, I didn't think about that. You can do that?" Like, and Strange is like, "Jesus Christ!" But Strange has that moment where he kind of gets a little bit scary and he kind of goes into dad mode and he's like, "Call me sir." I was like, "Damn."
I was like, "Dang."
Yeah, he was like, "Sometimes I forget you're a kid," and I was like, "Damn, got him."
I know, right?
But yeah. So Strange kicks Peter out. I was gonna say Peter leaves, but Strange kicks him out, and so Peter calls Flash for help. And Flash sends Peter to this woman who works at MIT who can have some pull, and she's going to the airport and she's on the infamous bridge. So Peter goes there to negotiate with her when we get our first spider sense scene, and he's like, "Oh, what the fuck's happening?"
With that zoom in.
Yeah, with that Raimi zoom. I didn't know to what extent we were going to get that when Tom Holland was like, "Yeah, we're going to do the Raimi zooms for the spider sense." And we really get it in this movie. But obviously, this is when Doc Ock shows up,
and we have a really really nice fight scene between them.
Definitely,
really fucking just amazing.
And of course, Peter's trying to save the MIT woman, and she's like dangling off the thing, and Peter hilariously takes down Doc Ock like with ease because of the nanotech, and he's able to control Doc Ock's arms and stuff and save the MIT woman, and she gives Peter, MJ, and Ned a second chance, which was nice. Like our theater clapped. They were like, "Yay, second chance!"
All right,
but yeah, so. How'd you feel about him just being able to take control of the arms immediately?
I think it was, like I said, like he said, I think it's funny because, like, it's technically like his, but it's one of those things to where I wish I didn't. I liked the look of Doc Ock's arms with the red, like the nanotech and everything.
Yeah,
it was really cool. And I thought that he was gonna be able to use it a little bit more, but of course, I don't mind. It was a pretty funny scene.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised more people are mad about that because you can kind of get from the trailers that they do beat him relatively easily, but I was kind of expecting people to be like, "I can't believe he just took Doc Ock took Doc Ock down like that," but no, people seem to be fine with it, so that's cool. Right after Peter beats Doc Ock, Goblin shows up for a second, and right before things get worse, Strange sends them to his little prison dungeon thing where he already has Lizard captive and now he has Doc Ock captive. So Strange obviously explains a lot better in obviously the full thing rather than the trailer where he's like, when you messed up that spell, it brought people in from every universe. In the full movie, he's like, you messed up the spell, and now instead of making people forget people's Spider-Man, it started bringing in people from other universes who know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And I was like, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Because people were asking the question was like, well, why is it just Spider-Man villains? That doesn't make any sense. Here's your explanation, So yeah, Strange gives Peter a new web shooter that one hits things and sends them to this prison. And I'm happy that this thing didn't get any more play than what it did, because this easily could have been like, oh well, he's getting another like helpful thing from like Stark's 500 plus web combinations, whatever the fuck. It could have easily been that, but no, it was just used to just send them to prison. That's it. So that was good. So, but yeah, Peter gets Ned and MJ to help, and they go try to find the quote unquote elf dude.
Oh, yeah, this green elf.
Yeah. I literally like face palmed, but not in like oh that's fucking trash. But I was just like, Jesus, like I can't believe they just said that. Hilarious.
Like the whole fucking Led Zeppelin line and Far From Home.
Oh, I love Led Zeppelin. Yeah.
Oh my god.
But
and then we see Peter swinging like through the fucking woods with that inside out suit because he had green shit all over it from one of the material people.
Yeah.
And then you see this, and then of course in this fucking scene, this creepy ass scene of like sand around him, with him being Sandman. And then you see fucking Electro in the background from him going from blue to yellow in the sickest way possible. Oh my god.
Cool. Yeah, actually, another thing I wanted to point out was I think I looked this up and I think this is right, but I'm pretty sure that they have a new cinematographer for this movie, and it really shows. Yeah, like this easily has the best cinematography of the MCU Spider-Man movies.
For sure.
But yeah, so they obviously find Electro and Sandman, and I really, really, really liked, because it makes sense with the end of Spider-Man 3. Sandman starts out as a good guy. He's actually helping Peter, which was really cool, and Jamie Foxx, of course, is a big upgrade in this movie and actually portrays a good version of the character. And the funny nods that they make towards him, referencing his old self, was pretty funny. How Lizard was like, I remember you had a gap in your teeth and a comb over. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
But yeah, Sandman helping take down Electro was super cool to see. I thought that was so fun.
I know, right? And then fucking Jamie Foxx, he's like, I know you see me in the woods butt ass naked. that was so funny.
Yeah. But man, of course, Peter sends Electro back, and Sandman has the assumption that he killed him because he kind of does just like disappear.
Yeah.
So yeah, he obviously gets really apprehensive and attacks Peter, in which Peter sends him to the prison. But then we get this great scene with Willem Dafoe where he's talking to the Goblin Mask, and he destroys it.
It's just that was like fucking amazing. I wish we saw the mask more, but still, I still like the suit either way.
And seeing more of Dafoe's face is always fun.
It really is. And then we cut to him and like feast. But of course, Peter gets like a call, and it's like, oh yeah, like Ame is like with like one of the enemies, one of the guys, and he storms in there.
Yeah, he's really worried, and it's just Norman being like, hey.
Yeah, he's like all that stuff, and Peter's like really confused. He's like, well, this is like a normal guy, like what the fuck? And then Ame gives him a speech of like, you need to help these people or whatever.
Well, and then Norman's speech, he's like explaining his like dual personality in like a really sad way, and like you really feel for the guy. Like he seems genuinely lost, and asks Peter for help. But he's like when he's like Oscorp doesn't exist, and he like talks about his son. I was like, damn. But yeah, Peter is all like, this isn't my problem.
And Ame's like, yes, the fuck it is.
And he's like, I think he's still a little bit like iffy about it, like whether he wants to actually help these people or not. But then, of course, he goes back to the dungeon, and Strange is like, yeah, these dudes are gonna die. These dudes are dead, bro. And Peter's like, what? He's like, okay, then I do need to help these people. And then obviously, you know, Strange talks about the box or whatever, and you know, Peter, and it leads into that Strange versus Spidey fight, which was just visually amazing. Any Doctor Strange visuals I always love, but you know, Peter actually beats Doctor Strange with math, which is a really great Peter Parker moment.
It really is.
One of the first moments that shuts up the Tom Holland is dumb crowd.
But then, yeah, and then, you know, gives the box to MJ and Ned and be like, hold on to this or whatever.
Yeah, and he then offers his help to like all the villains, and they all reluctantly agree because they're like, well, it's either get help or die. You know what I mean? So he lets all the villains into Happy's place to get to work on curing them, and we get this. It's this such a good science bonding scene between Peter and Norman. It was so sweet. Just Norman being a normal guy. It was so nice. I know, Goblin there. He was like when you get old enough or whatever. I don't forget what he said. We might have a position at Oscorp or whatever on my universe or whatever. I was like, that's so nice.
He's like, if you want to take a trip to another dimension, there's a place where you're at Oscorp. And I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. And everyone just like, you know, they're all talking, and it's kind of like, yeah, it's pretty normal. And then,
well, before that, they finished the first project, which is Doc Ock's new inhibitor chip.
Yeah.
And not gonna lie, for a moment, I really did think he died.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit.
I was Peter, like, what the fuck? Yeah, I was like 8-0. Like, I literally in that moment, because at this, I could kind of tell where the story was going by this point, but like I thought he was gonna put the inhibitor chip in, Doc Ock was gonna die. And then the villains would have been like, ah, shit. he's like, now we gotta kill you. Yeah, and then turn on him, and then that would have sparked everything. But no, thankfully, Doc Ock is alive, and he gets this great little monologue where he's talking about how the voices are, you know, they're not there anymore. That was really nice. And next they fix Electro, but not fully. It's like a little charging thing, and Peter's spidey sense starts to go haywire in this really
like suspenseful like scene.
Yeah, and the visual was cool too. I was just hyper focused on Tom Holland, and everything else is just blurred around him.
Everything's blurred. You can't kind of see like a little shaking around him.
Yeah, and he's kind of looking at everyone like he might think it's Electro, because Electro's kind of been the most antagonistic so far. And then he obviously thwips Norman, and it's not Norman anymore. It's Goblin. And my god. It's so good.
It's such a great scene. Like, and it's just, the thing is about Goblin, bro. Goblin, any word he speaks, it's just chills down your spine.
Yeah, his line, he was like, Norman's on sabbatical, honey. I was like,
yeah.
I was like, oh my god. But God, Willem Dafoe is just so good. Like, it's unfair. Anytime I think of that, even when he's like at his like most villainous state, which is just in like a little bit, I still think about him and I'm like smiling. He's so good. He's so good. But obviously, chaos ensues. Electro gets rid of his cure. Doc Ock dips because he Electro attacks Doc Ock, and he's like, shit, gotta get out of here. And Norman, or Goblin, starts brutally attacking Peter. My guy got the fattest upgrade in strength. I was like, oh my god, this guy is just hammering Peter.
Just fucking like throwing him through fucking walls, like breaking through walls, and then fucking suplexing him through the ground.
I know, like crazy stuff.
Throwing him through the fucking like windows and shit. I was like, my god.
Yeah, but and then I thought some cool stuff was that Peter was like doing some really creative stuff with his like web maneuvering. Like, and then the most terrifying part, and probably the most like one of the scariest, like genuinely terrifying moments in any Spider-Man movie. Peter is just wailing on him, just like punching him, and Norman or Goblin is like not flinching, and he's just laughing.
Yeah, he's just.
Oh my god, dude.
I know, it's literally pure fucking menace,
like genuine insanity, and it was in that moment I was like, how has this dude not played the Joker? I don't get it.
I know. And then he fucking slams him through like the floor in the lobby, and then, oh man, this is when shit starts to go downhill.
Yeah, this is like a little bit less than halfway through the movie. Holy shit. Okay, so May tries to cure him, and it doesn't work, and Goblin has this line. I can't remember it verbatim. I only saw the movie once, but he throws a pumpkin bomb, and Peter knocks it away. And even though there's still a big explosion, you think for a moment that May's okay. A moment, and they really fucking fake you out. I'm like, these pieces of shit. Norman even says at the movie, like, I took the low blow or whatever, but this was the fucking low blow, you goddamn writers and John Watts, making me think she was alive and killing her anyway, you assholes. But
I know.
Yeah, you think she's saved or whatever, and she gives Peter the "with great power comes great responsibility" speech, and sadly, she dies. Tough, man.
I know.
Hate to see it.
I was gonna say, like, the line Goblin says, he's like, Peter, no good deed goes unfinished. I was like, God damn, dude,
he's so good. Like it was rumored that Green Goblin was going to be the main villain, and I didn't know what that meant, and I didn't know what to what extent. He's definitely the main villain.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Oh man, but yeah, Tom Holland gives a great performance in this moment. A line that stood out to me when he's obviously crying over May is when he says, "What are you doing?" Like absolutely crushing. He's like, what are you doing, May? Come on, get up, talk to me. And I'm like, oh no, this is so sad. But no tears yet. No tears yet at this point, for me at least. I don't remember what militaristic force it was, but some armed people arrive and shoot Peter and has to escape. Also, Happy was there and he got arrested, but that's but
yeah, fucking you get shot at like the fucking cop in the Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Yeah, but and then Peter's like on the roof of the building or some other building, I guess, and this shot of the back of Peter being illuminated by the big screen with J. Jonah Jameson on it was easily my favorite shot of the movie.
I know, and then like it's just crazy how like the lines that J. Jonah Jameson got, like, he like, of course, I don't remember it for verbatim, but he was like saying like how many people like are willing to die because of Spider-Man, and like what
everything Spider-Man touches like dies.
I was
like that.
Holy shit, dude. I was like, and the thing is, people like, I mean, for me, I don't like when people get villainized in movies, but when I say that J. Jonah Jameson villainizes Spider-Man in the most perfect way possible, this is it. It's just so good.
So good. I mean, oh geez, man. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, that shot is gorgeous too. That's like a wallpaper shot.
It really is, man.
But yeah, so we then cut oh my god, we're almost there. When we then cut to Ned's place, and they're there eagerly waiting to hear back from Peter, and they're watching the news and stuff like that to get any updates and stuff. And Ned says something like, I just wish we could see him. And then the beginnings of a portal starts to form. Now, before I go any further, this is probably the biggest thing that I didn't like about this movie was that Ned can just make portals.
But anyone can make portals, though.
Okay, I don't disagree, but he just does it without any training, any real thought. Like in Doctor Strange, my guy is like struggling to do anything. He has to go to like the fucking like Himalayas or whatever to just to get him to.
Well, the thing is that like Doctor Strange like was having trouble to learn because he was focused on his hands, and plus like he didn't believe in himself to do it. Because like the thing is like whenever you have the slink ring on, and if you believe you can do something, and like with just like the utter thought, you can do it.
Right, I get that. It just seemed extremely convenient.
Oh, so, no, it's not. Of course,
and then he knows like he has to like move his arm in a circle and he didn't even know it was like a sling ring. Like he
actually, hold on. I have a point that I will get to after this that someone else said about that. So hold on, I'll write it down real quick. But continue.
Yeah, it's just a little hard for me to believe that Ned can just do that right off the bat. But again, it doesn't hurt my enjoyment. It's just it's just something I wasn't a huge fan of. But Ned then opens a portal to reveal Peter Parker, and you were in the same theater I was. The portal opens, you see those big white eyes, and everyone knows. Yes. Everyone knows it's not their Peter Parker. He comes through the portal. It's obviously the TASM 2 suit, and he takes off the mask, and it's Andrew Garfield.
It's Andrew Garfield, yes.
Oh man! And we get this absolutely amazing, no pun intended, scene with him. Just entire sequence with him was just so funny and so true to Andrew's iteration of Spider. Like I'm cheesing just thinking about it. Like it's so good. Like when MJ throws the bread at him and he's like, why did you do that? And she's like, I'm seeing if you have the tingle. He's like, I have the tingle, just not for bread. Yeah. And she was like, prove it. He was like, prove it. He was like, yeah. Like, and he was like, you're a very mistrusting person, and I respect that. Oh my god, I love him so much. He's so good, man. And
then he starts crawling on the wall and everything, or he touches the wall.
Yeah, he touches the wall, and she's like, crawl around. He's like, you want me to crawl around? Like this isn't enough. And like Ned's mom or whatever is like, hey, can you get the condom? And he was like, yeah, no problem. And he just gets the condom. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Oh my god, I love it so much. But then my guy Andrew gets like roasted, but also like in like the most like kind way possible throughout this entire thing. Because like because MJ is like, well, do it again so we can get the real one, and Andrew was like, ouch, like jeez.
I know, right?
And so obviously Ned goes to tries it again, and what do you know? It's motherfucking Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire. He flies through the portal, and my guy's looking real skinny. And
I know he's not as buff as he used to be. But of course, this is 2002. Yeah, 2004. He's not as buff anymore.
They just they just called Tobey Maguire like, hey, you want to do this, and got him the next week, kind of thing. But oh, dude, yeah. So it's Tobey Maguire, and in our theater, at least I would say like Andrew and Tobey got about the same amount of cheering. Like the level of cheering, it was about the same. Oh man, this is again. This is when I got like I can believe everything I've seen up to this point, but once these guys come in, everything starts to feel surreal. This is when everything is like, am I really watching what I'm watching right now?
I know, right?
But yeah. So we have Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, and Tobey Maguire, man, and we get this fantastic scene. Where Toby and Andrew have this little like small little fight altercation thing to sort of like see each other's chops and they're like, oh, so you're Spider-Man too? And he was like, well, yeah, I don't really go announcing that to people because it defeats the whole anonymous identity thing. And because Andrew said the same thing earlier, and MJ and Andrew are like, I just said the same thing. I just said that same thing. But we get this a little bit more later. But I love how the movie shows that these three versions aren't all that different from each other.
Yeah, exactly.
They're all still like Peter Parker, and yeah, they have their own differences here and there, but they're like at the end of the day, they're all Peter Parker. I love that so much, man. They handled this so well, but also we're like the midpoint of the movie, and they introduce these guys. even if you didn't believe they were in the movie, or you were like sure they're going to be in the movie, but you'd expect them to be like in the final act on some like endgame stuff, and then that's it. But these guys from the middle point to the end are literal supporting characters, and like full on supporting characters.
Yeah, because people are saying like, oh yeah, like Toby and Andrew, like if they're in the movie, they're gonna get like 20 minutes of screen time. Like hell no, they got way more than we were expecting for them to have, which was great because
good.
That was like one of the main like rumors like that people wanted to see No Way Home for. But yeah, I love that they have like that talk, and they're talking about like yeah, we're trying to find our Peter, and they're discussing like, well, where do you think he could be? And then Toby points out saying like, well, he has to go to a place that like means something to him.
He was like, for me, it's the Empire State or whatever, and Andrew was like, for me, it's the Chrysler Building, better view, and he was like, Toby was like, it does have a really good view. Toby,
then, they go.
I don't want to. Maybe I'm reaching a little bit. But to me, low key, this was Tobey Maguire's best performance as Spider-Man.
oh yeah, definitely.
Like my guy was so not a bitch.
Yeah, he was very like, he was very like not saying he wasn't chill, but like his performance was like just very consistent, I would say.
Yeah. Oh man.
Very consistent.
And he was having some genuinely funny moments that didn't feel forced or corny or cringe, like in the Raimi trilogy. No offense to anybody who likes that. I mean, we talked about that however many weeks ago now, but yeah, he felt so good in this. I was very happy.
Well, this is what happens when you step away from acting for like almost 10 years.
Yeah. But so they find Tom. Do they even specify where Tom was? I don't think they do.
They didn't specify where he was, but like, of course, the place that he cared about the most was on top of the school where him and MJ were.
Oh, that's where they were?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's what they were.
Okay. All right. Well, that helps. Anyway, so they all meet Tom there, and Ned and MJ get this little moment with them. And then Tom sort of senses the other two, and we get this great shot. We get this great shot of them. They're like silhouettes on like the top of that little tower thing. And it looks so good. I
know, it looks so good.
It looks so good.
And man, like I think this is like definitely one of the best like and crucial points of the film. Like just them like getting that, just Toby and Andrew talking to Tom and all that stuff. And
yeah, you get that. You get that moment where Toby's like, "We're sorry about May" and stuff like that, and Andrew's like, "We know what you're going through," and Tom's like, "Don't tell me you know what I'm going through. I don't want to hear it." And Andrew just says, "Okay," because he knows that he in that situation he wouldn't want to hear that shit either. So he's just like, "Okay, like I'll let it," But
yeah.
We sort of get the stuff you'd expect in a meeting like this, like the whole him talking about Gwen and Toby talking about Ben and being mentioned and stuff. But I wanted to talk a bit specifically about how interesting Andrew's situation is described. He says, and I'm actually going to quote him here. He said, quote, "I lost Gwen. She was my MJ. I couldn't save her. I'm never going to be able to forgive myself for that. But I carried on, tried to keep going, to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man because I know that's what she would have wanted. But at some point, I just stopped pulling my punches. I got rageful. I got bitter. I just don't want you to end up like me." This is fascinating to me because we all know what it means when Spider-Man stops pulling his punches.
Yeah, people were getting murked.
My guy was murdering people. Like,
yeah, he was. He just stopped. Like,
and
he just stopped caring.
That is like the craziest. Terrifying. In that one line, I'm like, "TASM 3, please." TASM
yeah,
3.
I'll get into that like later on.
That is like the most. And obviously, I'm no Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield's delivery of that was like he's obviously like getting emotional and stuff, and I'm like, damn. Not only is like. I imagine for this movie they like called Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. They're like, "Hey, you want to be in this? Want to be in this movie? It's only like a couple weeks worth of work. You want to come in?" And they're like, "Okay, whatever." And they come in, and because Andrew loves this character so much, and obviously Tobey also, but like, I think Andrew gets the most acting bits between the two in this, and Andrew just. He loves the character so much. He's so good.
Yeah, I definitely see the main consensus of when I go through comments and all that stuff is that Andrew Garfield was a standout in this film. You can definitely hear it. Oh my god!
Yeah, he really got his time to shine, and it was just, oh man, it was so good. But yeah, I desperately want to see that version, that era of Andrew Spider-Man on screen. I think it would be so good. But Toby obviously has his moment where he's talking about how he or Tom is like, I want to kill him, and they're like, and Toby's like, I totally get it. The guy who killed my Uncle Ben, I wanted him dead, and he chased him down or whatever, and he got his wish. I kind of wish he mentioned that he didn't actually get his killer. It was actually Sandman, but that's okay because it wouldn't have worked in the moment. But after that, they all go to this lab, and we get just everything between the three of them is so, the chemistry between them all.
The memes too,
is so good. Yeah, so they go to the lab and to work on the cures, and Andrew's like, all right, well, I already cured Dr. Connors once, so I can do it again, no big deal. And Toby and Peter look at him, or Toby and Tom look at him, and like okay. he's like, what? I can do it again, no problem. They're like, okay, man. And then Andrew like walks away and like spins around. He doesn't know where to go. Oh my god!
And then like we get like another smart moment from Tobey Maguire. He's saying like, "Okay, I'm gonna go work on this from for
Dr. Osborn."
Dr. Osborn. It was just like anti-serum, and I was like, "Oh my god, anti-serum!" But of course, like I always forget that Tobey Maguire was actually in like science class with Dr. Connors of that universe. Yeah. So
we also get the funny moment where Ned asks for Peter, and they're all like yeah, they all say the exact same thing, like yeah, oh sorry, you be the other guy or whatever. You mean, or like which one? People keep I guess I missed this, but do we get the pointing meme in the lab scene?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I guess I completely missed. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, we got it. I'll send you a video of it on TikTok,
please, because I really want to see that.
Yeah, we got the pointy scene, and then fucking Ned, bro. Ned was like, he
asked Toby. So did you have a best friend? He was like, yeah, he died in my arms.
Yeah, he will also try to kill me. Yeah, and then fucking Andrew looks at him too.
And then Ned's like, oh, like, am I gonna die? Because they're all. It's so good, man. And
then they have like the little bits like, I'm not trying to be a best friend that kills you.
Yeah, he was like, I promise not to turn into a supervillain. And then
like, oh, poor Ned,
but also Hobgoblin.
I know, right?
Foreshadowing. But oh man.
And then
the really great scene where Toby and Andrew were like explaining their relationship, because Andrew's looking at Peter and MJ, and he's like obviously feeling some type of way because he lost Gwen. And Toby, gives him some words of encouragement, and Andrew asks him about his situation, and Toby's like, it's complicated. And I'm like, my guy, did you just get pulled out of Spider-Man 3 or something? What do you mean it's complicated? Is MJ still being a bitch?
Is she cheating on you?
Is she still cheating? Are you still like messing with her dog? Like, get away from her, my guy. What are you doing? But yeah, that was all so good. All of it.
And then And then we get the fucking the web shooter like scene or the talk.
Oh yeah, once they get to the Statue of Liberty, and Tom has that great scene with that one-on-one with JJ, and he's like, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man could really use some help right now or whatever and stuff like that. It was a really nice moment. But Toby and Andrew are obviously he's like sorry.
Are you talking about the middle back scene?
Yeah. So Andrew's like, man, Max was such a nice guy, and then until he fell into a vat of electric eels, and the way he said,
like, yeah, that would do it.
Yeah, that would do it to you. And he's like, oh, there it goes, and he starts like, massage his back or whatever on the pole, and he's like, are you okay? And Andrew's like, are you okay? And then the way Toby says it, like he knows it's a callback. He's like, oh, it's just my back.
All the web swinging,
but also falling off a building.
Yeah.
The way he says he's all my back, like
Yeah.
Wink, wink. But yeah, and of course Andrew's like, you want me to pop it for you? And Toby's like, yeah, actually, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I have a middle back problem too. He's like, oh, really?
Yeah, and then so Andrew pops his back. Oh my god, I can't do this. Is so, all of it is so good. I can't. Oh my god, but the bromance, just the bromance between all of them is so good. But yeah, then we get the whole web fluid thing, and Andrew's like, so you make webs in your body, and Toby's like, I don't really want to talk about this, like, are you mocking me? And Andrew's like, no, and Tom's like, no, he's not mocking you, we just can't do that, so we just are curious. And Toby's like, well, it's like breathing, like I don't do breathing. It just happens. And Andrew's like, well, do you ever get web block? Because with like the webbing and stuff, and like it runs out and stuff. And he's like, and Toby's like, yeah, I can see how that can be annoying. And she's like, and then Toby's like, yeah, well, I did get web block once. Now that you mention it, and he was like, how? And he was like, oh, existential crisis and stuff. He's like, oh, don't get me started. This entire thing, man.
But the web thing I was talking about was the one in the lab where like Toby like fucking shoots like a web out of his wrist, on the chair. And everyone's like, wait, what? Like, you can do that?
Yeah.
Like,
he was like, did that come out of your wrist? Gross.
Yeah, that was the one. And then, like, fucking Tom is like, does it just come out of your wrist or does it come out anywhere else?
But, and then Tom is like, so what are some of the craziest villains you've ever fought? And they're like, no, that's a good question. And Toby's like, I fought this alien from outer space that was made out of like black goo and stuff, and Tom was like, oh, I fought an alien once in space, he was purple. And then poor Andrew, he was like, oh, you guys are so cool, I'm lame, I fought a guy in a rhinoceros mechanical suit.
And Toby was like, no, don't do that, you're amazing, like, you're amazing. He's like, thank you. He's like, no, I want to hear you say it. He's like, oh no, this is the words I needed. Thank you.
Yeah, he was like, I actually really didn't hear that. Thank you. Like, this poor guy. Oh man, it's a little like the whole amazing bit. It's a little on the nose, but it's such a great moment because while Andrew is growing in popularity, he's still the least beloved Spider-Man.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Just like Toby being so in line and similar to Tom and Andrew, I feel like and him being sort of like nice to Tom and Andrew and him giving Andrew his due and stuff like that, it almost felt like the writers and being like, hey, Raimi fans, stop being assholes, bro.
I know, right?
Like, everyone here is cool with each other, so let's calm down. But yeah, it was really nice, meta moment giving Andrew his due. But the villains all show up, and the three Spideys don't really do great initially because Toby and Andrew haven't worked on a team before. Of course, Tom's has, and we get this hilarious scene where Tom brags, and he's like, I don't mean to brag, but I'm in the Avengers. And Toby has this line, which he delivers so incredibly perfectly, and which is part of the reason why I think it's his best performance as this character. He was like, the Avengers? That's great. What is that?
And then freaking Andrew's like, wait, is it a band? Are you in a band?
He's like, no, it's not a band. He was like, it's Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and Toby's like, how is this helping?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, dude. It's so good.
Oh, it's so amazing, man.
But yeah, Toby's delivery of that line was so perfect, but then they all decide to coordinate better. And they get code names. And Tom's like, I'm Peter 1. He points at Toby, Peter 2, and Andrew's Peter 3.
He's like, I'm Peter 3.
You're Peter 3. This dude keeps getting shafted.
I know.
He's like, of course I'm Peter 3. This guy, he's so good, man. I can't, dude. Andrew Garfield is, oh man, he's such a delight, man. So good. But they all go back to fighting, and Andrew's one-on-one with Lizard felt straight out of TASM 1. It's like they didn't even skip a beat. Like it literally felt like it came out of the way he was talking to Lizard, and he webbed him up, and he was like, I'll be right back, you stay there, or whatever. I was like, oh, it's like, oh man. It's times like those where I'm so insanely happy I rewatched those movies with fresh eyes. Because now I'm way more receptive of Andrew's Peter, and I'm way more I think he's the best one, to be frank, now, which is so it's crazy how I just did a complete 180 just in the past month on this man. But like, I didn't hate him before, but he wasn't my favorite, or I didn't think he was the best.
Definitely open up your eyes a little bit too.
Yeah, and now I'm mad at myself because I can't imagine how I'd feel if I actually had that nostalgic factor with him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pissed. I have no one to blame but myself for not opening my eyes. But yeah, all the old, like I said earlier, all the old actors in this movie just slipped back into the roles like it was nothing. But yeah, and just seeing them all like swing together, and we get the shot from the trailer, and they all jump towards all the villains, and they land on the thing, and Tom's in the middle, and Toby's, and they all pose, and they're all swinging off things, and they pass things to it. Oh, dude, the team, it's so good.
It's so amazing, man. And they get rid of a few villains. They got rid of Sandman first, because of course he was the biggest one to deal with.
It was also it was also a little surreal seeing Toby's suit in like modern CG.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like his suit, like just the modern suit, man, looks so good. But man, yeah, it is like kind of. I mean, it wasn't off-putting, but
no, it was just surreal. I'm still, my brain is so used to seeing his suit in those old, early to mid 2000s CG. That seeing it in modern CG is like, whoa. But they cure Lizard and Sandman, and Doc Ock shows up, and he starts to choke Andrew and Toby. I think it was Andrew and Toby, right? I'm pretty sure it was Andrew and Toby. And
yeah,
and after Electro was like zapping Andrew, like he really had him. But so Doc Ock shows up, and he obviously saves them, and he cures Electro because he's good now, which was awesome. And Toby gets this nice moment with Otto, and where Otto's like, how you doing? And Toby's like, I'm trying to do better, and stuff like that. And I was like, that's nice.
Like, oh man.
And then Andrew gets a hilarious moment with Max, where Max is like, with all that you helping poor people and stuff like that, I really thought you would be black.
He's like, yeah, I thought you'd be black. And then Andrew's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so like, sorry to disappoint, my bad.
and then the nice little call out to Miles Morales. He's like, I want to know if there's a black Spider-Man out there. And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
But yeah, that was funny, man.
But then Goblin arrives.
Oh, I was gonna say Doctor Strange arrives.
Doctor Strange arrives, and he's and Ned and MJ obviously come through the portal, and Doctor Strange is like, lizards. The fuck, the fuck is happening? And Ned and MJ are like, Peter's plan's working. Like, you can't, stop it. And Strange looks around. He's like, well, I'll be damned. It's actually where he sees Lizard getting cured and stuff like that. And actually, I wanted to talk a little bit about the parts where Lizard specifically and Sandman were being cured. Those were actually reused shots from TASM 1 and Spider-Man 3. Those were alternate takes. So because Lizard gets cured at the end of TASM 1. He's not fully cured, but he's at least cured, like, temporarily. But there's an alternate shot at a different angle, which is the angle that they used in No Way Home, where he is being cured and he's like looking at his arm and stuff. I think you can actually find those on the deleted scenes. I could be wrong though.
Wow, nice. Saving some money.
Yeah. And same with Sandman. It's an alternate scene from that too. So they did something similar in Zack Snyder's Justice League where they reused Man of Steel footage. Anyway, Strange shows up and he's like, all right, fair enough. The plan is working. And Goblin arrives. He steals the box and Doc Ock catches him flying away. And then Strange does his little whip thing that he did on Peter earlier in the movie. Oh, we didn't talk about that.
What?
When Strange pushes Peter's astral projector form out of his body,
his Spidey sense.
Yeah, his Spidey sense is big to dodge the box. That was a great moment. I completely forgot about that. Anyway, Strange grabs the box, and it has a goblin bomb in it. And Peter's like, Strange, no, or whatever, and it explodes. It literally the only time those goblin bombs have ever killed anyone immediately was on that balcony where he turned those guys into skeletons.
All right, yeah. Out, am I? But yeah, and that freaking explodes everyone, and that's when MJ starts falling, right?
Yeah. So the shield, Cap shield, falls down from the Statue of Liberty. Yeah. And it knocks Gwen down, or I keep saying Gwen. It knocks MJ down. It knocks MJ down, and she's falling. And Tom goes after her, and he gets completely sideswiped by Goblin. And of course, Andrew then swoops down and saves MJ. And let me say, you can just go back like a few weeks now to our The Amazing Spider-Man reviews. I will never take that scene seriously of Gwen dying. It's still hilarious to me. it's still fucking funny as fuck. And we weren't trying to keep up with leaks, but some of these leaks were unavoidable. We knew Toby and Andrew were in the movie. Just based on the trailers, everyone was inferring, yeah, Andrew's going to come down and save MJ. That's exactly what happened. And yet still, I think the Gwen scene is hilarious. We knew all this stuff was going to happen. But when Andrew gets emotional because he was able to save MJ, that was the first time I actually teared up.
Yeah, that was definitely a fucking... Dude, that was just so much redemption in here, man. It's just amazing.
Like, I started to tear up. I was like, what is happening to me?
I know. And then he's like, are you okay? And then I was like, dude, stop. I was like, stop crying,
and then MJ was like, are you okay? And he just nods. Oh, man.
I had a feeling like MJ was going to ask that, and he was like, no.
No, I'm not okay. But, Strange goes to the top of the Statue of Liberty, the little torch, and he's redoing the spell, and which fails again, and he starts like slowly mending like all these cracks, and Tom and Goblin land on the now fallen shield, Goblin gets up and I think he says something like, "Poor Peter, too weak to send me home to die," or something like that.
Yeah.
To which Peter replies, "I just want to kill you myself."
Kill you myself.
Oh my god! And Tom Holland, before the movie came out, he was like, "You'll get to see Peter be bad," and I was like, "The fuck does that mean?" Now,
is he a naughty boy?
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't know, but and when Peter said, "I just want to kill you myself," every part of me went, "Yes, do it, do it, Peter,
do it." And then
sorry, go on.
I was like saying like, when he says that, and then freaking Goblin's like, "Attaboy." I was like, "Oh, shit, dude." I was like, "Oh, dude." And then, going back to what Tom Holland said, the fights are like personal and they're brutal and visceral. And that's what we got.
He's actually punching people.
I know, he was punching people, and then he was just, oh my god,
yeah, what I wasn't expecting was how hard Peter actually tried to kill Goblin. Like he was really going for it.
He made a
yeah, when he did that ground shield. Pound. Oh my god. Like Peter was wailing on him towards the end. He was definitely not pulling his punches. Like my guy was going crazy, and can you blame him? Like
I know,
like it's such a great moment. Like,
and then he
then he picks up Goblin's glider, and he's about to impale Goblin with it. And so much of this part is mirroring Spider-Man 1. Not only he's going to impale Goblin with his own glider like he did in Spider-Man 1, but Toby and Andrew come by and they're looking at Tom beat up Goblin. And, Toby comes over and he stops him from impaling Goblin in a very similar fashion to when he stopped Goblin's glider in Spider-Man 1. Just so many parallels in this movie. Just throughout the movie, when Toby and Andrew first pop up on screen to the end of the movie, so many parallels. But this one, I was like that one, yeah. But anyway, Toby stops it, and then Toby gets stabbed by Goblin. The way the entire theater gasped.
I know, it was like on par with like how Iron Man got stabbed by Thanos.
Yeah, in Infinity War.
But honestly, like I knew that was coming. Not saying I got spoiled or like leaked for me, but it was just right there.
Yeah, because like he was standing right in front of him and whatever, and yeah, you can kind of see it coming, but still, yeah, everyone in the theater was like, "Oh fuck, oh no," and then I was in the back of the theater like, "Yes, Toby, die."
And like I thought they were gonna do a Spider-Man 3 moment because the lighting was just like the same. Oh my god! But
imagine they mentioned
that was I was like, man, he got stabbed or whatever, and then like, fucking like Tom cures him.
Well, no, like Goblin again, just Willem Dafoe being great. He tells Peter how he's the one that killed May. He's like, I took the low blow, but you're the one that killed her. And Tom just looks just super angry, and obviously Andrew throws the cure at him, and Tom grabs it and puts it in him, and it works. Goblin's gone. And Andrew goes to Toby, who's, stabbed, to make sure he's okay. And Andrew's like, "Are you okay?" And Toby's like, "Yeah, I'm good. I've been stabbed before." And I could literally feel the relief throughout the entire theater. They're like, "Oh, thank God." But Strange is struggling to contain the spell, bringing in like Spidey villains from all universes. You see silhouettes of classic villain. Which ones did you see? Like I saw on Twitter that you could see Rhino and Kraven. I didn't see that at all. Like my entire vision was caught up by Scorpion. I only saw Scorpion.
Yeah, I saw Kraven, I saw Rhino, and I saw Scorpion, and I saw someone with the staff. I don't know who that was.
I thought that was Kraven.
I don't remember Kraven having no fucking staff. What the fuck?
Well, I don't know about a stab. Like I don't know.
Regardless. Yeah, it's like some staff type shit, whatever.
Yeah, a bunch of spooty villains from all universes and stuff like that. Tom's like, I'm gonna go check that out, and he goes up to Strange, and Tom's explaining her. Strange is like, everything's breaking because of you, and Tom tells Strange to make everyone forget who Peter Parker is, to end everything. And Strange has this little nice growing moment where he basically says he loves Peter. He says something like, everyone who loves you, and he sort of has this pause and he says, we'll forget who you are, or something like that, which was nice. It's like something along those lines. And Tom says to do it, and Strange tells him to say his goodbyes, and he says bye, and Strange is like, call me Steven. I was like, oh, it's so nice. And Tom calls him Steven, and Strange is like, no, it's still weird. But Tom tells Toby and Andrew thank you a million times, and he hugs them, which was super sweet and still surreal. I can't, like, I'm seeing them touching. Crazy. But then Peter tells Ned and MJ that they'll forget who he is, and it's a super sad moment, and MJ gets emotional, and she's all like, I don't want you to do that. I don't want to forget you. I don't want to forget this. I don't want to, and she starts getting emotional, and I was starting to get emotional. I was like, that's so sad. This is so sad. What is happening? But, they say, they tell Peter to find them when they forget him, and tell them everything. And then, of course, Peter and MJ have, their final kiss, and they say their goodbyes, and Peter leaves, and all the multiverse people start to then fade away to their respective universes. The spell works, and everyone forgets who he is.
I still like tear up at the shot of fucking Toby and Andrew like hugging, and all of them hugging together. Oh my god!
Although the super like nice moment where when they're fading away and they just sort of wave at each other.
Also, like I don't know if you noticed, but there's no stab wound with Toby.
Oh,
yeah, there's no stab wound
like on his back.
Like of course he got like impaled.
Yeah,
you don't see in the front.
Wow.
Shit. Yeah, you don't see it. I saw that in on the first watch. I was like, where's the stab wound at? And I just
okay. Well, you know what I forgot to mention when Peter says his thank yous to Toby and Andrew, and he goes away. Andrew's like, you're in so much pain. You're in so much pain right now. He's like, yeah.
He said, well, Tom broke his ribs, so I mean, everyone's kind of in pain.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was.
So there's a little bit of a time jump. It's a little bit unclear how much time has passed, but presumably it's probably like, I don't know,
like a few weeks.
Yeah, maybe less than a month, probably.
Yeah.
But Peter goes into MJ's work, and with the intention to tell her everything, but he can't bring himself to do it. They have this nice moment. He's like, I'm Peter Parker or whatever, and Ned walks in, and my dad, when Ned walked in, my dad was next to me, and he turned to me. He was like, "Oh no, they're gonna kiss," like Ned and MJ.
I know,
but that would have been rough. Imagine. But yeah, of course, that doesn't happen. But Peter and MJ have this nice moment of connection that shows that there's still hope for them. And I couldn't help but think that it's a little bit similar to Barry and Iris, except infinitely better.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because how Barry and Iris they're supposed to be like the one true love throughout all universes or whatever, and they always find each other and shit like that.
You're my lightning rod.
Oh, Jesus. But yes, similar to that, yes, except better. But and like most Spider-Man movies, there is a scene at a gravesite.
And I was like, oh man.
But even though I give them shit for that, this feels right. It feels right. And, you know, as sad as MJ and Ned not knowing who he is, for whatever reason, Happy coming up, almost like an old friend, and just saying, "How'd you know her?" hit me like a fucking truck, and I don't know why. That's when I really started to lose it. I was like, oh my god, not Happy. Like, of all people, like, I don't know why. Like, why Happy? But and then when Happy was like, a friend of mine died not too long ago, and I was like, oh, why?
Oh man.
But oh yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe it's like, I don't know, like Happy's he's like the connection Peter has to like the Avengers and shit, and like, yeah, to start, at least like the closest thing. If anything, he's closer to Uncle Ben than Stark is. But that one thing about the grave scene, it would have been a great moment to reveal Uncle Ben's gravestone next to May's. Kind of a missed opportunity. Again, not something that is ruining the movie for me, but I think that's something they definitely could have, you know, just to shut up the Uncle Ben's not in the MCU crowd. They could have, I think that would have been a really easy thing to do too, but it is what it is. But we then cut to Peter moving into a new apartment, and the door, it opens on the shot of the door, and it looked insanely similar to the one in the Tobey movie. Literally, it looks so similar that I thought it might have been the same set until it cuts to, you know, the actual room, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, it was, I thought it was similar too. And then, you know, he's taking out all this stuff. You see like the Emperor Palpatine Lego.
Pain.
And then you see, I think he shows it was a picture of him and MJ, right? Or just MJ?
I don't remember the actual
picture. There was a picture frame.
Yeah.
And then you see the GED manual.
Yep.
Everything.
And then you go to a shot of him looking out the window, which is already very Spider-Man. And then he looks at his Spidey mask on the pillow. And then it goes to a shot of a sewing machine. And it's his own, he made himself his own suit, and man, does that suit look stunning. We barely see it, but we barely see it, and it's already one of the best Spider-Man suits in live action.
I know, it's like, you know, the red is there, the shiny blue,
super shiny blue. It like it's like shiny in almost reminiscent of like the classic comics where it's like almost black, but it has like the highlights of blue.
Yeah,
it's sort of like that, especially in the nighttime. And it has, and can I talk about some stupid people on the internet for a second?
Yeah,
people are like, "Oh my god, it has the Raimi logo on the front and the Andrew logo on the back."
Yeah, no, I was just about to say that.
No, it doesn't.
I was just about to say that. Like,
it does not.
Like someone said that.
It's so, if you look at the goddamn image, it's clearly not. Like, I get it's similar in a sense to Tobey's, but it's not Tobey's. And as far as it has Andrews on the back, it absolutely does not. It's just the exact same logo as it is on the front. Like, use your eyes. It's the same shit. But I like the fact that it's a bit of a bigger logo, although I was a fan of the small Ditko looking one. It's so good. It's so good. And then, of course, we get this very short but very sweet swinging scene. I wish it was longer. And
then, like, you know, I wish like he did a, like, kind of like a shooting the web at the camera.
Yeah.
I wish they did that, but he dives into the camera and the eyes look animated, which is really cool. Kind of gave me a little Into the Spider-Verse vibe.
I was just about to say, it looks like Into the Spider-Verse, the Peter B. Parker one.
Yeah, but definitely that. It looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, and then, of course, we get to the first post-credit scene, and I am very happy about this.
You fucking hater.
It's,
fucking,
of course,
Tom Hardy's Venom. In Mexico.
And
talking
to the bartender or whatever, talking about like all the stuff like in the MCU.
And And of course, they're Venom's like super duper drunk and trying to make sense of everything, what's going on in the world.
And then of course, this takes place like a bit before Strange's spell to send everyone back or whatever. And just before, and he's like, maybe I should meet this Spider-Man guy in New York. And before, he can leave, he fades away and leaves a bit of the symbiote behind. This is the best decision they could have made. I'm so happy.
Because now in the college trilogy, we're gonna see Peter Parker become a menace.
Yeah, and they don't have to be pigeonholed to this shit version of Venom.
Shut up, bro! Oh my god,
they can actually have a Venom origin that's tied to Spider-Man.
Imagine they brought back Topher Grace.
They should. No, I'm kidding.
It just, bro. Imagine that. Imagine the suit that he made with the symbiote, dude.
And it actually has a spider symbol on it, like wrapping all the way around.
Dude.
It's gonna be so good. And of course, now they know that Spider-Man 4 is happening. Oh my god. But yeah, we get the second post-credit scene, and a la Captain America the First Avenger with the Avengers trailer, it is a trailer for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And I was so like I was still processing No Way Home that I could barely process this trailer, like, because I wanted to, because I knew it was sort of leaked like it was gonna be like the second post credit scene is the Doctor Strange trailer or whatever. And I wanted to sort of focus on it to see if it felt sort of like Sam Raimi's style, but I could not focus. But what'd you think? What'd you think of the trailer? It was fun seeing Wanda and her. It was nice. Get up again.
Yeah, it was nice seeing Wanda. It was nice seeing Mordo with dreads,
looking good.
And fucking evil Doctor Strange. Oh yes. Man.
Also, you barely see it, but Strange does get a new suit.
Yeah.
It looks pretty sleek. It's not that much different, which is good, because they kind of nailed it on the first try.
For sure.
But
man,
yeah, it's really good.
That was a ride, man.
Whew. Jeez. But yeah. We got through that quicker than I thought. Thank God.
For sure. I did want to talk about some things that you said.
Yeah, go ahead.
There was one of them I was gonna say. Maybe it'll come back to me when I watch the entire 8-hour podcast. But you were saying how like there's a part in the movie where you said that things were like convenient. It was Ned. Yeah. So I saw a review and saying how like one of the things that, like, of course, it didn't ruin the experience for people, but things were very convenient for everybody in the third act, which was, I mean, like I said, it's definitely plot armor because it's Spider-Man, and that's pretty much the whole story. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to address, that someone did have that same opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Toby and Andrew had to get there somehow, but it is what it is. It's fine.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not gonna like how Far From Home, Tom is just there with his mask off in that bar, and I'm like, why? I'm not gonna, when I watch No Way Home, I'm not gonna be like that for this Ned scene. It's not as big of a deal for me, but yeah. Is there anything like some like little moments in the movie that we didn't address?
I like the fact when Happy calls Peter, is like, hey, I saw these guys in my house, like, who's the guy with the robot arms, like, oh,
is that a cyborg?
That was funny. Yeah, cyborg. That was funny. Let me see,
there's so much in this.
Oh yeah, I like the part where like, it was kind of like a similar thing with like Electro and Sandman. And like Electro's like, yeah, I fell down in a vat full of electric eels, and then Sandman's like, really? I fell through like a super shifter or
Super
something like that,
collider.
and then the super collider, and Electro was like, oh, yep,
Makes
yeah,
sense.
it's kind of like the every parallel is like, yep, that'll do it for you. But man, I still can't get over this movie, man. I can't wait to see it.
We just talked about it for almost 2 hours, and I still can't believe it.
I was gonna see it again on Friday, man, but I couldn't. So we're gonna have to see it again somehow. But oh,
yeah. So
what's up?
Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say that now that everyone's gone to see it, maybe more seats will open up this time.
Yeah.
Man,
and even though for like the first viewing, I love the cheering. I love being in that experience, but the downside is because of that, you do miss some of the dialogue because of the screaming.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I definitely want to see it again just to catch some of that dialogue.
I still was able to make out what they were saying, but yeah, I definitely feel you. Which that tends to happen, especially during really big Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, oh yeah, I saw something. So how like the Spider-Man 4 stuff, and people were saying like someone brought up a point about someone was like, oh yeah, Andrew's not done being Spider-Man. So like they're saying how like Andrew Garfield is going to be Spider-Man, like in the Sonyverse or whatever, and of course the line where he's like, oh yeah, I stopped pulling my punches is like the reason why he's like labeled as a murderer in like the Mobius trailer.
Oh, that's good. Good. That's good. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I mean, that's always been my ideal scenario, is that Tom would have his thing in the MCU, and then obviously this would happen in No Way Home, but in the Sonyverse, Andrew would continue on and he'd have his own thing going on. That's always been my dream for this. Like, it's fine to have, like, it's cool to have concurrent Spider-Men. That's just more money for Sony. Like if we can have multiple Supermen, multiple Flashes, multiple Batmen, we can have multiple Spider-Men in multiple universes concurrently in film.
For sure. Yeah.
Even if they don't want to do that, they could like push it onto, I don't know, fucking Prime or something, because Sony seems to have a relationship with Amazon there. But they could even do that. I don't know. That'd be kind of doing a disservice to Andrew, but it should be theatrical. Whatever. The point is, I think that would be the ideal scenario.
Yeah, because like the entire thing of like most of the Morbius stuff is in Andrew's universe. Still, it still is kind of weird to see the PS4 Raimi suit.
Yeah,
with the murderer. But yeah, that's what somebody said. It was saying like, yeah, like like Tom Andrew Garfield just beating on people, killing them, and that's why he's labeled as a murderer in the Morbius universe.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. God.
So yeah,
and it would make besides being the Raimi suit, it would make Sony look less like an idiot.
Yeah, and I mean, dude, just think, man. Like, of course, like you said earlier, Andrew Garfield isn't done being Spider-Man. People have realized that Andrew Garfield not only being a great actor, but a great Spider-Man as well. And people want to see his redemption, like in future films, which I want to see as well, because, we love Spider-Man no matter who he's played by.
And Andrew loves Spider-Man.
Andrew definitely loves Spider-Man. And we all can tell that Andrew got the shit on a stick when it comes to being Spider-Man.
And I see people campaigning for like a Spider-Man 4. And while that would be cool, I feel like this is a one and done for Toby.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a one and done for Toby, unless he comes back, for Spider-Man 4, and that's it. But yeah, people were saying, I want to petition for the Amazing Spider-Man 3.
I'm down, man.
You sent me that thing with Kevin Feige. He's like, for Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 3, I don't want to just like, give advice and just leave. I'm like, so you're saying you want to help? You want to stay there? You want to stay making the Amazing Spider-Man 3, Kevin Feige?
Yeah, he was like, if I'm gonna be involved, let me just make the movie for you.
I was like, Kevin Feige, Do your thing, bro. I'm here for it.
Like I'm wondering how the TASM movies would have worked out if Kevin Feige was a producer on those.
Dude, oh my god.
Oh, you know what? I did want to point out something I was really pissed about.
What?
That I completely forgot about it. Nothing against the movie itself, but in the goddamn credits, where they credited Avi Arad as like the reason why Spider-Man. Fuck you. Fuck that guy. The number one villain for Spider-Man, Avi Arad, and you're just gonna be like, Avi Arad's a great guy. He did great things for Spider-Man. No, he did not. Stop it.
Obviously, they're not trying to lose their jobs in any way or anything.
I don't give a shit. They should have said fuck Avi Arad from Anonymous, and he would have no idea who did it.
Yeah, fuck that dude.
Should have done it. I was watching the credits. I'm surprised he didn't hear me. Because when that showed up, I literally went, "Screw you."
I didn't. Everyone was like looking at you like, "What the fuck is this guy on?" Oh yeah, I didn't hear that. I had nothing else to say.
Yeah,
I've already said everything.
But just to reiterate some of the stuff we said in our non-spoiler stuff, easily my favorite. But like, there's no question for me. This is easily my favorite Spidey film to date. Again, not sold on the best yet, but I have to see it again. It has to sink in finally, and it has to sit with me for a while because like I'm changing my list around damn near monthly. Like I think I just changed my list today actually. But not even Spider-Man, not even No Way Home. I just changed other parts of my list. But yeah, so that can change on a dime, But yeah, so even though I'm not sold on the best yet, easily a 9.5 to 10 out of 10, easily. But yeah, is that the show?
That is the show.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to the Avengenerds podcast. If you want to follow us, we're at Avengenerds on Twitter. That's Avenge Nerds, all one word. If you want to follow either one of us, you can reach me at @itszenith_ on Twitter or youtube.com/itszenith. Where can they reach you?
At Torrentino on Twitter.
Awesome. Well, we have a Discord if you'd like to join the conversation there. Those will be linked in the show notes. You can also check out our link tree for any additional links you may be interested in. And you can also review the show in-app on Apple Podcasts. If you could leave 5 stars in a review, it would really help us out. Thanks again for listening to the Avengenerds podcast. We'll see you next week. And by next week, later. I mean like next year. Because we're taking a week off. We're taking a week off for Christmas. But
enjoy the holidays. Spend time with your family and watch Spider-Man No Way Home.
Watch Spider-Man No Way Home, please, for the love of God. We're in a couple of weeks. We're going to be talking about its box office, which is going to be it's fucking nuts already. But sure. Yeah, we'll see you then.
See you.